Greetings with Joe. All the people them run down the carnival. Yes, Marcus Messiah Garvey says. I said Messiah. Marcus Garvey said that we black people, African people in the diaspora, do not know ourselves until our back against the wall. A serious statement that we won't know ourselves. Consumers, happy-go-lucky people. Watch it.
Almost 50% of our male penal population is African American males. Yet African Americans are only 12% of the U.S. population. And I think what's driving this penal population is the dropout rate. Our dropout rate is a result of our boys not mastering reading, being inappropriately placed in special education, and a myriad of other factors. Participants who take this class in best practices for African American male students, they will first understand Black culture, Black male culture, Black learning styles. They will learn how to secure the most from their students. When Black children think that being smart is acting white, it's because they have not been taught their history and their culture.
I like being at this school because it's a lot of culture surrounding us.
I like it because, well, you learn a lot about your history, and not only that you learn about African history, you learn a lot about other history too.
African American students in the classroom become, disenfranchised with their education really early on.
A boy scored at the beginning of third grade, how high?
98%.
98%. How do we explain how Black boys could do so well K-3, and then this tremendous decline from the third or fourth grade on? What do you think is happening to large numbers of Black boys who are kinesthetic learners?
They're underperforming because the way in which they learn is not ever being activated.
If you are a Black male kinesthetic learner, tactile learner, oral learner, 4th through 12th grade, where do they send you? to special ed. Question, is special ed the new form of segregation?
African American males, they are capable, but you have to seriously look at and do some soul searching in terms of the strategies that are being used and be intentional in terms of catering your teaching style to those young men.
You could do all the changes that an IEP requires without actually labeling the child special education. So the change of curriculum, the change of classroom setting.
I want you to say that again. That was prophetic. The 1% that owns almost 95% of the wealth, they did not earn it in the NBA, nor rap, nor the streets. Can you imagine if you had a class where half the class buys Nike shoes and the other half buys Nike stocks, and every first day of the month we compare the value of the shoes to the stock? I bet that could reduce the dropout rate.
All right, gentlemen, answers 3, 2, 1, hold them up. All teams have positive. That one is positive. Team Allen. Wilson shooting for Team Allen.
So I try to be as provocative as I can each day. I try to be a little entertaining, but also just using some things that they can relate to.
Zuckerberg heard of a great idea, right, of this social website. He heard this idea from some people that were talking about it, but Mark Zuckerberg knew that if I got to this first, if I take advantage of this opportunity first, and I stand to gain the most. Spain and Portugal knew that if they got their hands in the slave trade first, and they were going to be the individuals who were able to benefit from the slave trade the most.
The biggest thing is gaining those relationships with the kids very early on, and learning what they're interested in, learning what their strengths are, learning what their weaknesses are.
What's their favorite store? What kind of clothes do they like to wear? Why? And you could go so many different places with that. Where the clothes were made, how much it costs. You can throw math problems in there. You can incorporate getting to know them through your lesson.
Just becoming that person who's really consistent and really credible. And so I think just to make it really safe for them to have a trusting relationship with you.
We have to find ways to bond with these students, especially black men. It has nothing to do with race or gender. It's time on task, expectations, and connecting with your students by understanding and appreciating and acknowledging their learning style.
Yes. Understanding their learning styles. And all we have to do is play. Listen.
Just cut us off and staring me down. He's staring me down, cut us off. Welcome to Baltimore. My hometown of Baltimore, just a 45-minute drive east of the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Sitting as it does on the Chesapeake Bay, Baltimore has come to be known as Charm City because its inner harbor attracts a vibrant nightlife and thriving tourism business. But just beyond these calm waters is one of the most violent cities in America. Most of the crime in Baltimore is committed by black males, with other blacks as victims, making them an easy target of police.
They'll lock you up just for running off at the mouth. You can't win.
They said that they found a gun in my room. I had no idea the gun was here, and they tried to charge me as an adult with possession of a handgun.
And many believe the stereotyping of black kids starts early in America, as early as grade school.
Hey, baby, where's my invitation?
When your son tells you, Mom, I hate going to school every day because they just bully me and they pick on me, they never give Isaac the benefit of the doubt. Never.
school and criminal justice systems biased against black boys, all echoes of my childhood. But I managed to avoid the trap of Baltimore's cycle of poverty and violence. But now I was going back to my hometown to get to the bottom of what I consider the new civil rights fight in America: educating black boys. One of the earliest memories of my childhood was growing up in this neighborhood and in this house in Northwest Baltimore.
So you might have been the first family in this house after we moved out. All these years, 40-odd years. Couple pastors.
I lived here with my mom and sister. My dad left the family when I was just 6 years old. From that moment on, it was up to Mom to provide for us, often working 2 jobs.
Space seems so small now. You're a kid, it's just huge.
The last thing she needed in those days was a rambunctious, mischievous son.
One of my lasting impressions and memories of this house was my mom coming home from work early one day that I didn't expect. She goes to the short little back porch area that we had. She looks out over the backyard and sees me on the swings, the swings of the playground of my elementary school. I'm playing hooky from school. I'm on the swings, thinking my mom is at work. She sees me, yells at me. I take off running, and when I get home that day, Mom is saying, I saw you in the... You didn't see me. It wasn't me. Boy, go get the switch. Go get the switch. Everybody knows what that means, right?
I performed well enough in school in those days to be considered one of the promising kids at the all-black elementary school I was attending. But as I was to discover in a very painful way, promising was not nearly good enough for the nearly all-white school I was bused to, Falstaff Elementary. Almost immediately, I felt I didn't belong.
And I can remember being asked a question in class and not knowing the answer to the question and feeling totally humiliated. Totally humiliated. And I think from that point on, I just started to act out, right? I just started to act out, and they eventually threw me out of the school. Had some difficult days here.
It seemed I just didn't know what the white kids knew at the time. I felt I wasn't as smart as they were. I was sent back to my all-black school, and I checked out. That was in the 1970s. Over the next 3 decades, nearly every institution in Baltimore, from education to the black family to the criminal justice system, was transformed by the scourge of drugs and drug violence.
Approximately 33-year-old black male. He's been shot 3 times.
While I was pursuing my career in Cleveland, Ohio, and New York City, my hometown, Baltimore, was fast becoming one of the most dangerous cities in America because of the cheap, rock form of powder cocaine called crack. Baltimore's former mayor, Kurt Schmoke, says the 1980s was when the crack cocaine contagion in other urban centers found its way to Baltimore and took a devastating toll on the African-American community.
Well, for us, it was a combination of 2 major factors. The crack epidemic, and then we had a continuing migration of the middle class out of the city. And I say that it wasn't a white flight, it was a class flight. It was a middle class flight because blacks as well as whites were moving out of the city. So you had the drug problem and then this major concentration of poverty.
The complaints were about, the police shooting that guy through the window.
By the 1990s, I was anchoring a local nightly newscast in Baltimore, working with many of the people in this room. And what we were reporting was heartbreaking. For 9 straight years in the 1990s, the city's murder rate topped more than 300 per year. Mockingly, Baltimore became known as Bodymore Murderland.
There is growing outrage in Baltimore about an outbreak of violence.
The 19-year-old was the 10th murder victim since Saturday.
3 people gunned down in Baltimore City overnight in one incident. This noon, police search for who did it.
One of those 3 men was killed in the shooting. City police say the gunfire erupted last night.
Baltimore's free fall at the hands of drugs and violence was turned into a television drama, and The Wire became an international hit.
Look a little light to be announced, don't you think? You good then? That's it. Take him down.
While the murder rate is right now below 300 a year, large portions of the city remain in the grip of a violent drug culture, with African-American males, most of them high school dropouts, as the chief architects of that violence. It wasn't supposed to be this way. Nearly 60 years after a landmark U.S. Supreme Court ruling ordered blacks and whites to share the same education resources and facilities, fewer than 50% of black males are graduating from high school. And worse, less than half of the black males who do graduate from high school at age 17 or 18, less than half of them are reading at the level of an 8th grader or a 14-year-old.
The underperformance of African American males is a huge drag on our success as a nation.
Nancy Grasmick is the recently retired superintendent of Maryland schools, a position she held for 20 years. Her contributions are such that the headquarters of the Maryland Department of Education in Baltimore is named after her. In 2005, she was part of a task force to get to the bottom of why black males were underachieving in Maryland schools. The report concluded that there is a great deal of evidence to demonstrate that all children are not valued equally, that some children are clearly valued more than others, and finally, that African American male children are valued least of all.
It is true. It is absolutely true that there is an element of racism in this, and that there has been this generalized attitude that African American males are not going to perform well, and also that they are the students who are acting out, who are disruptive, and therefore let's suspend them or expel them from school.
In 2010, after 26 years, Maryland settled a federal lawsuit where at issue was the placing of disruptive students in special education classes that didn't provide an equal education to students in regular classes. And what group, by a wide margin, was most often labeled in need of special education? African American males. Under the agreement to end the lawsuit, Baltimore must give special needs students the support they need to get a regular education. That's not happening for 8-year-old Isaac Sawyer.
Isaac is very special. Isaac has the biggest heart in the world. Isaac walks down the street and sees homeless people and asks me, "Mommy, can we take them home? Because they don't have a place to live." But at the same time, Isaac has a lot of problems. They diagnosed him with ADHD and impulsive control disorder, which means sometimes he doesn't think about things before he does it.
How do you feel about the education he's getting?
Oh, I think it's horrible. My son is in the 2nd grade, and before the beginning of this year, he couldn't identify the numbers 1 to 10 and made it to the 2nd grade. How does that happen?
Alicia is a single mother, raising Isaac in this ramshackle house with her sister, who is also a single mother of 2 young boys. Together, they are raising their mom's youngest daughter, their sister, while mom is away at a drug rehabilitation center.
Single mom,
raising a black boy with special needs in Baltimore City schools, you had a better chance of hitting the lottery than getting that kid through high school with a diploma.
Yep. I know, and that's the reality. And that's what I have to look at and think about all the time. And that's what makes me, I guess, a little bit stricter than other people, me and my sister both, because we understand that. And me not having a high school diploma, dropping out of high school when I was 15, 16, when I had my son, I don't want him to be anything like me. I don't want him to have to settle for $8 an hour, $10 an hour. I don't want him to have to work from paycheck to paycheck and work 60 hours a week and come home and be so exhausted he can't even play with his own child the same way that I am. So I know that first and foremost that he has to get a good education.
The odds are against him. For Isaac and other underprivileged children in America, regardless of race, growing up poor in a high-crime neighborhood means you often don't get access to the best schools or the best teachers. It is a different story for the children at Woodhome Elementary, a middle-class school. The difference in how these students are taught is staggering.
We happen to be in a school today which has a large African American population. Every one of these students, every cohort, African American males achieving in above the 90th percentile. These students have had that early education, have high quality teachers here in this school. But is that pervasive to our entire system? Absolutely not. And until we come to grips with this, given the diversity of our population, not only in Maryland, but across this country, we are not going to continue to be competitive with the rest of the world.
And deficiencies not addressed in early education are seldom corrected in later years. Douglas High School was one of two high schools I attended. It was an inner-city school then, it's an inner-city school now. After years of tuning out, I hit my stride at Douglas. In searching for a way to fit in, I found the school choir, which led to the title role in the school play my 10th grade year, Oliver. The show was a hit, and its success gave me a huge boost of confidence. However, that confidence didn't translate into a greater effort or better grades in the classroom.
I think as we're able to kind of continue to celebrate the story and
Douglas principal Antonio Hurt takes pride in recent achievements in raising test scores at Douglas. But he acknowledges that today, more than 30 years since I left this school, there is still a long way to go.
So all of the African-American males, the black boys, who are eligible to graduate in the senior class, will they graduate?
wow, I wish I could say that all of them would graduate. But what I can say is that we have done everything to kind of ensure and establish a platform for all of them to graduate.
How many of the African-American males who will graduate this year are reading at grade level?
Wow, now that's a notion. We probably have about 50% of those young people who are not reading on grade level or reading where they should be as a graduate in a normal high school, if you will, or a normal high school diploma, whatever normal means in this day and age.
It is reading proficiency that ends up being the core skill that many black boys are lacking. If America wants to improve the academic success of black males, if it wants to set a new trajectory for global competitiveness in math and science, America must teach its black males to read early as black boys.
The biggest problem I see for American children in general, for large numbers of American children, is they never learn to read well enough to enjoy reading.
Dr. Freeman Rabowski is president of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. a predominantly white honors college just outside of Baltimore. Hrabowski was recently named to Time magazine's list of the 100 most influential people in the world. Hrabowski is so well thought of in education that U.S. President Barack Obama has chosen him to chair a newly created President's Advisory Commission on Educational Excellence for African Americans.
We need to be encouraging much more reading in our families. In fact, what I often will ask kids is this: how many of you love to read? A few hands will go up. How many of you enjoy watching TV? All the hands go up. How many of you enjoy reading more than watching TV? They look at me as if I'm crazy. You know, and I say, you know, the ones who are going to be most successful, it's okay to watch some TV, but the ones who are most successful will learn to read a lot, because the reading is thinking, and thinking is power. Power to control one's own life.
Do you like to read?
I like to read.
You like to read?
Yeah, like if I had a choice, like read a book or watch TV, I'll watch TV, or like get to the book later.
Eddie Blick Jr. is graduating from Civitas High School while reading at the level of a 10th grader, a 15-year-old. His favorite subject is math.
You're good at math?
Yeah.
How's English?
I like it, but it's not my. Yeah, like, I'm strong at it. Like,
not your favorite?
It's not my favorite.
Tell me why.
It's like I can do it. I'm good at it, but I just like. I guess I like numbers.
Most American kids will say, "Don't give me a story problem. Give me the equation," because they don't mind doing the equation solving, but they are not accustomed to translating from the words to the symbols. But the point is that any problem in engineering, in medicine, in the social sciences, wherever, any problem is expressed in language, in words. You go from the words to symbols and then to numbers.
Eddie was a terrific student until he gave in to peer pressure and let his grades slip to fit in.
You were called a nerd for being successful in your classes?
Yeah.
How'd that make you feel?
I didn't care at first till like some of the girls started saying, like, man, they might not like the nerd, so switch it up, because you gotta like please the girls.
Aside from peer pressure, there is another curious, self-defeating phenomenon impacting the performance of black males. Social commentators call it a cultural rejection of the English language, a decision not to learn to speak and write the English language properly.
Prodigies, cast out of this terminologist, mean I'm getting no half a cent, money aggravating. I'm cool niggas born like Levinas, Toastman, and Hamilton. Schooling the game facilitators, these niggas now penetrators, never had to take, but the world
Yeah, we see it, and if you look at a kid coming from home, and they hear mom and dad using a certain language, saying things a certain way. So it's a process of trying to get them to understand why we need them to speak a certain way and write a certain way, and go ahead and continue to be behind that and insist that you're going to do this the correct way.
Ron Spruill is a math teacher at Civitas Senior High School.
I want the children need to be bilingual. Children need to be told that the way they communicate at home is beautiful. It is valued. But when you're at the workplace, this is like another country. You need to speak the language of that country if you want to be successful.
I'm getting low like Lauren Ralph. That's what my cat, something fishy, no trout. Leave you in the lake, now you flowing with the sprouts. Leave no evidence means no clout. The people speechless, but they still shout. I'm so going in, my level's going out. In this game,
Stephen Danny hopes street slang will make him a fortune. Like many of his friends, Stephen wants to be a rapper. But what happens to black males who don't make it as rappers or athletes? What are the options for black males without a strong education to support them? Consider this. Black teenage unemployment in America hovers at around 40%. That's higher than any other demographic in the country, by far. A lack of decent education leads to a lack of opportunity. That often spirals into crime and drug abuse, a cycle of entrenched poverty that is difficult to escape.
The junkies on the corner, the Little young boys who stand outside and sell drugs. The ones that stand outside all day and don't do anything with their lives. 26 years old, lives home with their mother, doesn't have a job, has 6 kids by 4 different women. When you go down the street, you see the blue light cameras all on the, that's what we laugh and joke, the blue light district. Whenever you see the blue cameras on the end of the street, you know that you're in a heavily drug-infested, violent area.
You said on the night of your inauguration in 1987, it would make me proudest if one day it simply could be said of Baltimore that this is the city that reads. How did you do?
I gave myself only a C. Gave myself an A for effort, but you know, in this world, you want results. But the key, the big enchilada, if you will, of making a difference in the community is a significant improvement in the elementary and secondary education. And that's where I can say we didn't succeed.
Just this year, in the U.S. state of Michigan, a class action lawsuit was filed by the American Civil Liberties Union. The state is being sued because hundreds of students in an overwhelmingly African American district just outside of Detroit are functionally illiterate. Black males have paid a terrible price for academic failure. The lack of a proper education has had an impact on the family structures of the African American community and on the nation's justice system. I've come back home to Baltimore, Maryland to explore a startling statistic. While 78% of white males graduate from high school in the United States, less than half, just 47% of the country's black males are graduating from high school. In New York City, that number is even worse. And increasingly, when black males drop out of the education system in America, the lure of fast money on the streets leads to another system, the criminal justice system. According to the U.S. Justice Department, black males make up 40% of all prison inmates. However, African Americans as a race make up just 13.6% of the U.S. population. In Baltimore, it seems every black male you talk to has had some negative interaction with police.
Yes, just recently. Last night, I'm coming from the basketball court at Federal Hill, had my shirt off, just walking back, and the cop was like trying to get us to fight him, I guess. The whole week was walking back just because I had my shirt off.
Well, like a day like this, I was out on a day like this, and me and some friends were out. We were just sitting back with a couple beers, which we shouldn't have been outside doing that anyway. But, you know, they made it seem like we were, like, selling drugs or something like that, and, you know, they shipped us off to jail for the overnight.
They've pulled me up a couple times. They thought I looked like a criminal, apparently. So, you know, I've been pulled up, asked what's my age, what's my ID number, and everything. So it's happened a couple times.
The rate of black incarceration suggests there is something more going on beyond racial profiling.
Judge Stewart, is there a bias in the criminal justice system against black males?
Yes.
I assembled a group of Baltimore judges, prosecutors, and defense attorneys to discuss why so many black males are in prison.
Can you explain that bias, please?
I think it starts way before it gets in the courtroom. I think that you walk down the street and you see folks standing on the corner. If a young African-American guy, can I just say black? If a young black kid walks by, somebody puts the purse closer to them. If it was 3 white guys, they wouldn't do that.
The broader point is, poor black neighborhoods are policed more aggressively.
the police, we're going into a high drug neighborhood. They talk about the neighborhoods in which people live as if they were a jungle. This is how they talk about where people live. Well, this is where you are. But maybe if you went to some other neighborhoods, you would see the same thing. But it's where they know they can get the numbers. It's where they know they're going to find what they're looking for. You know, so saying if you don't look, you won't find it. Now, I'm not saying that it's not happening there, but I think it's a bias that we have, as society, we've pretty much adopted. And rap music and what people now call style and all this other kind of crazy tattoos and all of that stuff doesn't help any.
I don't agree. I don't think the system is biased. I think that there is a community of problems and issues. But I think the fact that we have diversity on the bench and we have judges who are not going to treat that young black male.
But before they get there.
But he asked a question about in the criminal justice system. And when he says that, he's talking about in my courtroom. And my answer is no. And I'm thinking of some of the other judges, including you, and I'm thinking, no, it's not biased.
Right. There are various courtrooms, and they're packed dockets. And if you're a defendant and you come in there and you don't have the right mannerisms, don't have an attorney that's fighting for you, you can get caught up in the system. And there are plenty of people that are over in jail that didn't do what they were convicted of.
But my thing was, the criminal justice system doesn't start in the courtroom. And
Yes.
that's where I'm talking
Yeah.
about there is bias. It starts long before they get to the courtroom. And I think that the black male isn't given the benefit of the doubt.
What's life been like growing up for you here in Baltimore?
It's been kind of shaky dealing with my mom and her habits. Because my mom, she's a recovering addict.
17-year-old Darius Gibson is an honors student who has never been in trouble with the law. But his college plans are in serious jeopardy after a drug raid on his family's home in which he was arrested. Facing 5 years for drug and gun charges linked to drug paraphernalia he says belongs to his mother and a broken gun that belongs to a relative, Darius is frustrated because he says police have refused to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Darius, you're going to enter one of the scariest systems on this planet, the American judicial system, for a black male. You know that, don't you?
Yes.
So as you get closer to this, when you go to bed at night, I need you to tell me what it is you're considering, what you're thinking, what's going through your mind.
In my mind, I'm thinking, am I really going to get away from this? Or am I going to end up like some of my family members that have been locked up? But if I go to sleep at night, all I do is pray and just pray to God that He'll have my back. Because I know my attorney does, my family and friends do. I'm just hoping the judge will see that I'm innocent.
You can't win. You can't win. You can't argue your point. You can't, nothing. I mean, any contact with Baltimore City Police, you can't win.
Ali Bey doesn't like Darius's chances of success in court because he's had so little of it himself over the last 20 years. He was first convicted of a crime when he was 13 years old.
How many times have you had law enforcement contact in your life?
A lot.
What's a lot?
Multiple times.
5 times.
A little higher.
10 times.
A little bit more higher.
You've had more than 10 law enforcement contacts?
Yes.
15?
I know it's more than 10.
Who do you blame for your 10 plus law enforcement contacts?
I can blame myself for some, and I also can blame the whole process of how the city is. Baltimore. It's just that in Baltimore, the police are always going to look at you different. You're always going to be singled out. I'm not saying it's all police, but we're talking majority of them. It's just the whole entire system, the judiciary system in Maryland.
Isaac Sawyer is just 8 years old, but already his mother worries he could one day enter that system.
I used to say that my how do I put this? I guess not my biggest fear, but I used to say I'm gonna be standing in front of the judge telling him, please don't give my son the death penalty. He's just a product of his environment. And he tried, and it's hard to think that one day your son's gonna be in jail, that your son's gonna be, but I'm realistic about things, and with the way his education is going now and with the way his behavior is, and like you said, Baltimore City, and I think it's a very strong possibility that he will be, and it scares me.
Before becoming mayor of Baltimore, Kurt Schmoke was a federal prosecutor. He says there is definitely a bias in the criminal justice system against the poor.
Well, the criminal justice system is biased against low-income people. That's the issue. I mean, and so to the extent that we have more African-American men that are low income, it's going to have a negative impact. I mean, two guys committing a charge with the same crime, one who has resources gets out on bail, the other one is stuck in the system. One gets a private attorney, one gets a public defender. No offense, but we know that resources make a big difference in the criminal justice system. So the system is biased against those who are low income, and that has a terrible, terrible impact on the African American community.
They're disadvantaged in income, they're disadvantaged in jobs, they're disadvantaged in education. I don't think they're treated in a negative way merely because of that. But it means that we don't have the programs and services and other types of things that are necessary to bring them from that disadvantaged situation to a positive situation.
And a lack of fathers in the home also negatively impacts Black males. In 2010, 24% of American families lived in single-parent homes. 66% of Black children are raised in single-parent households. The overwhelming majority of those homes are led by women. Darius and Isaac are products of female-led single-parent households. So am I. So too is Cliff White.
Hey, how you doing?
Dude,
what's going on?
I do know this face. I do know this face.
Of course, I had a mustache in those days, of course.
Wiley is a former All-American track athlete.
This is my mother, Shirley Wiley.
Shirley, oh, how are you?
His mother, Shirley Wiley, raised a total of 11 children, 9 of her own, as well as 2 grandchildren. All with the help of her mother, Cliff's grandmother. All but one of Shirley's children had early success, and she did it in one of the poorest parts of Baltimore.
I would just like them to have a life and just do better than I did, because, you know, go to college, try to get a good job, try to, you know, take care of your kids and things like that, you know.
She says her secret was a strong family unit, stressing the importance of education and discipline.
How'd you do it,
I had a little belt.
You had a belt. I knew it was a belt.
I had a little belt. Tapped the little legs.
You tapped it. It was a little light
not
tap.
No.
Nothing heavy.
No marks.
No
nothing.
marks.
Right.
No raised skin.
Right.
My mother is very, very polite. She's very, very polite to you, okay? She said she kind of tapped you a little bit and everything. She didn't tap you, okay? She's heavy-handed, okay? And fast, okay? And fast. My older brother and I went into a 5 and dime store, and we stole something. We stole something. I can hear her saying right now, I can't stand a thief and I hate a liar, okay? And I don't know whether we were I don't know whether first grade, kindergarten, or wherever it was, but I never stole another thing for the rest of my life, okay? And I remember that whooping to this day, okay?
I certainly made life difficult for my mother once we moved to a neighborhood outside of Baltimore. Again, I was attending a nearly all-white high school and getting another shot at a better education. But again, feelings of insecurity and defensiveness returned. But this time, when I acted out, I was tempting more serious trouble.
And that's what I did here. I stole records and other small things. I guess because of peer pressure. Not thinking about the consequences, really. You get away with something the first time, you kind of think you're invincible, and that's what I thought at the time. I thought I was invincible. I certainly wasn't thinking about my future and what all this would mean.
That all changed when I was caught stealing snack food from a supermarket.
Someone called the principal, the principal at my high school, who sent the vice principal over to literally pick me up and get me back to school.
My vice principal at the time, Mr. Owens, gave me a break. He didn't call the police, and he didn't kick me out of high school. From that moment on, I stuck close to one of my best friends in high school, Reggie Brooks. He was a star on the football and basketball teams, and some of his discipline rubbed off on me. Today, he is the athletic director of a high school just outside of Baltimore, and he is still beating me at basketball.
You got that, man?
Single-parent households make the role of highly functioning schools essential in the development of black boys. Without a father in the home, the work of a single mother is often overwhelming.
Is his father in his life in any significant way?
No, not at all. Can you put it away? Thank you. My son asked me about his father, and I told myself that I won't talk bad about his father to him because you never know what might happen in the future. They might have a wonderful relationship later on in life. But when he asked me, I say, he's not here. If he wanted to be, he would be. I'm here. And I leave it at that. But when you take your son to the mall and he stands in front of the wishing well and you give him a dime to throw in and he looks at the dime and says, I wish my daddy would come see me. Broke down crying. Couldn't help it. Started to tear up when I think about it right now. It's terrible. But you can't make anybody be there that doesn't want to be. And I'm mommy, I'm daddy. And you got Auntie Kika, and you got Uncle Blue. So has his Uncle Frank, my brother. So he has people who cares about him. And I know it hurts him that his father's not there. Just like it hurt me growing up when my father wasn't there. Hopefully we're enough for him. That's how I try to look at it. Bless our mommies. Bless our daddies. You just want what's best for your kids. And you try to give it to them, but people don't realize how hard it is. How literally hard it is for you to try to raise a child. Period. Much less by yourself. But I think people take it for granted. The time they get to spend with their kids. The fact that they can take off and go to the kids' Sunday T-ball game and that they can... People take a lot of stuff for granted and they don't realize.
I know that when a child is willing to work hard, when a parent says, I'm going to work with my son and make sure this boy gets what he needs, what does he need? And I say he needs to learn to read, to compute, to study, to respect people, to keep his room clean. And you've got a family working to do that, whether it's a grandmother or whoever it is. If there's somebody in that home helping that child to do the right thing, that child will be okay.
But Hrabowski knows that America needs much more than just okay to reverse years of academic declines, particularly where African Americans are concerned. Right now, South Korea leads the world in producing engineers and scientists. In America, just 6% of those 24 years old or older have degrees in science and engineering. And of that 6%, about 2% of those Americans with degrees in science and engineering are blacks and Hispanics.
What do you guys think?
Given those statistics, you'd think there would be outrage from civil rights and political leaders on this issue. You'd be wrong.
It's not sustained. It comes in spurts, particularly if there's a crisis or something in the community with some of our kids that are not doing something. If we get a kid, forbid, to get murdered out in the community, then you hear the outrage. But there's nothing I don't think that's sustained and long-term that can really get people's attention, grab their ear and say, this is what we need to do to impact education.
The level of outrage that we should have coming from many segments of our communities, Black community, white, is not there. And I think it's for a variety of reasons. There are a lot of success stories out there. That's one thing.
Help you God, so help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
We had a huge success, symbolic success, in having a Black person elected president of the United States. And it's hard then to argue to the broader community that Black people aren't making progress the way every other minority group in the country is not making, has made progress in the history of this country.
Until we resolve this issue, which I think is such a civil rights issue. I think it is the civil rights issue. People talk about technology being a civil rights issue. No, when we're talking about human beings as a class not having opportunities, having those extinguished early on in elementary school, what can we hope for as a nation in terms of our competitiveness? So it's not only the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do.
Just a week after meeting him, and on one of the most decisive days of his young life, Darius gets the kind of break my vice principal gave me years ago. The judge at his hearing on weapon and drug charges dismisses the case against him.
The case has been dismissed, and hopefully I get an expansion today, in my career in electrical engineering, Motor City University.
Looking forward to going to college, huh?
Of course.
It's not his fault that his mother's a recovering addict. It's not. And despite the fact that I've been struggling all his life, he triumphed. My baby an honor student. He got a scholarship. I won't let him go down for something I did. No. Hug him.
Darius gets to go to college and pursue his dream of becoming an electrical engineer. But what about Isaac Sawyer?
Is Isaac going to be okay?
I know he is, because I'm going to make sure he is okay. When I was younger, right before I had Isaac, I was a little hood rat. I was a little hood rat running the street. And Isaac is the best thing that's ever happened to me. It made me calm down completely because I knew at the end of the day, if nobody else needed me, if nobody else loved me, he did. And it just changed everything. It made me calm down, get a job, be normal.
What's clear to me is this. If the idea of American exceptionalism is to be more than a slogan, education has to lead the way. And no child can be left behind. The minimum, non-negotiable, has to be that every Black boy in America be able to read at grade level and attend some college. Surely, setting reading and college as non-negotiables for Black boys can't be that difficult for a race that has achieved so much in America while overcoming so much.
So the question, do I believe we'll solve the problem of Black males? We have no choice. We have no choice. We have to. They are Americans. I mean, what makes America special is when we've had problems in the past, and we've had problems that seemed insurmountable. We couldn't get this country to even talk about slavery. For a long time, they had to disagree. Let's not even talk about it, right? We went to war within ourselves because of those kinds of issues, and yet we finally came to grips. You and I could not have imagined being in our positions. When we were children, we could not have imagined being on major television or being the president of a predominantly white university, and yet that's how far this country has come. And what made the difference? Education. Education transforms lives.
Education transforms lives. Yes, it can. For Eddie, Darius, Stephen, and Isaac. And yes, it has for this black boy from a single-parent household and humble beginnings from Baltimore, Maryland.
Yes. We deal with the thing. We still look on ourselves as a people, try and figure out what it is that we need to do here in England. And I'm saying we need institutions, we need an infrastructure, not carnival.
Ooh, yeah. Nothing with your children. A Julie Dre. Down there with the rounds. A Julie Dre. Down there with the rounds. The only smoke is silent and feel alright. Natty Dre don't fuss nor fight. We all unite. Truly are. Ooh, yeah. Hold on, Natty Dre. Hold on. Hold on, Natty Dre. Hold on. Hold on, Natty Dre. Hold on. Hold on to love. Hold on to love. Love is the key. Open any heart. Love is the key. Open any heart. Truly are. Ooh, yeah. Whoa. Trade in a Babylon. Trade in a Babylon. We can't get no work to do. We can't get no food to eat. We can't get no clothes to wear. We can't get no way to lay our weary head. Ooh, yeah. Hold on, Natty Dread, hold on. 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 Hold on, we know Julie on. Hold on, Natty Dread, hold on. Hold on, Natty Dread, hold on. Hold on, Natty Dread, hold on.
Yes, and it's true. So we are said that this institution, so we will get the conversation, we're going to lick it straight. But right now, we have to talk about my mother. Yeah, come. Why me say that, you know? When I build my sound system, you know, my mother put 800 pounds in my hand. See? Yeah. So listen to some of my mother them tune, some of my mother's tunes, them rhythms. Easy Salad Power at the Massive, Islington, Hackney, Stoke, Newington, Camden. Yeah. time there was about 15, 14, 15. Mommy!
Thank you, Lord, for this moment.
Yeah, you see, when I say about my Bible, listen to them lyrics there now. Thank you, Lord. Them places where I forgot now is Archway Central Hall and Bluesville up there, Wood Green. See? We are listening to Neville the Enchanter and Sir Biggs. Monday night, we are listening to Sir Lord Power. Neville was wicked. Yes, mommy. I miss you. Easy, daddy, easy. Man called Harry Sandy.
Thank you, Lord, for this moment, oh yeah.
On Thursday, we come back with racism in education. We are dealing with England. Racism in education. We will deal with England. Iris Crucial Andy, sweeter than candy. Easy to like power.
Thank you, Lord, for this moment, oh yeah. Thank you, Lord, for this feeling that I possess.
Seeing what a feeling I possess. Hey, mommy, come, daddy. Bibo! Iris Crucial Andy. Winston Riley Production.
Stop doing wrong.
Me mama. Say to daddy.
Stop doing wrong. That's what the lady say to me.
I miss you.
Every time she sees me, I keep on telling her it's not Rasta. It's
Stop doing wrong.
and the leopard.
Children.
The wolves and the leopard. A good man don't do no wrong, 'cause he wants to go to Zion. Good man won't steal no one, 'cause he knows the consequences. It's the
Children.
wolves and the leopards. Rasta don't know if you come it back. Oh, lady, it's ready. Stop doing wrong.
Children.
It's ready. Please. Stop doing wrong. Oh, yeah.
My mama.
What she begged me. Oh, yeah.
Say to daddy.
Oh, yeah.
Teach your children not to do wrong. So they will understand what it is to be a man or a woman. Accept responsibility also. Mama. Chichi boy. Settle Monday.
She said, ready, ready. Stop doing wrong.
Me mama.
Ready, ready. I beg you, live right to ya and praise ya.
Think I'll stop doing wrong. Aris Kushalandi. Come again. See, players of instrument, and with their 14 and 15, come on, man, let's be sensible. Yes! Man, call Crucial Harris Andy, Solid Power, come. Bibo,
you man, listen carefully. Ooh, yeah. Oh, youth man, put down your weapon. Oh, youth man, go learn your lesson. Life is for living. Let's live with love. The rich and the poor, the young and the old. Let's live, let's live. Let's live and love. Oh, youth man, don't just eat that way. Oh, youth man, you'll be a big man.
See, we couldn't run away when our mother guide me. Come. Yo, Ghetto Children, listen good, you know.
Child to ghetto, and I was born and raised in a family that could not find bread at times for tea. My daddy, he turned his back. He did not care to share the love. He told my mommy before I came into this world. So I had to feel the hardship of life. I should not be.
See, my mother, I tell you, man, how me miss her. Listen good, daddy.
Why, you wanna fight me? You wanna fight me? Tell me why, oh why you wanna fight me? Why, oh why you wanna fight me? I share my coffee, I share my tea, I share my bread and butter, you see.
See, Mama teach us to share, so we never have to go around and fight. And nobody never come fight we. Yeah, that look like we. Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Like children of the ghetto, like children of the ghetto. Do the right, do the right. Remember your true love, remember your true love. Stop your backbiting. Stop your gunfighting. Do the right in your life. He'll shine bright.
With the dedication of the people them call Randy's, Fat Chin and her husband, the whole family. Randy's. Blues well. I tell you, man, you have to be a good dancer, you know.
Comes the night, oh walking through the front door. Oh, we, baby, I don't love you no more.
Yeah, you see my mother? Me, I tell you, man, I miss her so badly. Sweet.
Free up people. Free up the world.
You see all me now? Them time there? Me I play like 15 versions of this one rhythm section, you know. And we get all like 3 pieces from Toby's also. You understand? And one special from Aquarius. Me. Settle maestros, you know, so we love you a long time. It's a scene of confusion, and this is a means for the endless conclusion. All right, as I would tell you. Okay, Papa style, I ride. And there's 2 exclusive on the pantomime stable label. May I tell you, man, shuffle.
We wanna be free from Babylon's captivity.
How you mean?
We wanna be free.
And the good man will tell you.
From Babylon's captivity.
And my mother would say,
look how long we've been downing. Slaving for 400 years. Still we can't be free. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Oh, Father, hear our cry, 'cause we all wanna survive.
oh gosh, man, I miss my mother, you know. May I tell you, man, chee. Oh, God. Musical thing called Teardrops. May I tell you, man, Harris Crucial Andy, the young Harris Andy. Yeah.
water till your well runs dry, till your well runs dry again. He never makes you walk.
See, we punch them back on what, Thursday. So listen this now. What is life? What is life? Come talk. I'm still selecting, you know. Listen to the lyrics. What is life?
What is life? Life is a spell. What is life? No one can tell. What is life? I try to see. What is life? It's looking bleak. They control the treasure of our birthright. And to survive, we have to struggle and find the present confrontation of our mind, the flexibility of our visions. What is life? I try to see.
Bro! I tell you, listen. You got to be thankful.
Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac against the white wall, TV antennas in the back. You may not have a car at all.
Be thankful.
Just remember, brothers and sisters, you can still stand tall. Just be thankful for what you've got. Though you
Place of instruments. You understand?
I'm a real rootin' tootin' six-gun shooter from the old west. And scared of no man. Whether he has a double barrel shotgun or a doggone cannon. I'm the fastest man alive. Like the birds in the trees, my heart sings a rhapsody of love for you. Girl, you warm my heart the very first time I laid eyes on you. I know your love belongs to someone else, but girl, I've got to have you for myself. I'm gonna keep on trying, baby, till I win your love. Girl, I'm gonna keep on trying, baby, till I win your love.
They must say we too old. Come again. Yes, daddy. Strangers.
I can feel those tricks walking over when you enter.
What a vibration.
Now I feel those pains taking over
It's coming with a sweet sensation.
when you said goodnight.
Sing.
Oh, I feel
vibration. Do it, brother. And you know my mother say, why you going good, you know? So me have give her a Gustus Pablo, you know, serious thing. See, young people, them, you know, all of us, about young people, them. Yeah, sweet times, I tell you. You hear what happened now? We're going over to Jack Ruby? Nah. But I got to the burning spear. Mommy. Yeah, at blue spot in your house, right? Your blue spot could I lick in it? You see? Okay. And all them time there, we just have a speaker in a corner. See? My father was good at the acoustic business. He make a corner box. See? So then I come and just put the filters on and play tunes like this. Yeah. But I still had to go to school and learn the rule properly. Couldn't just get excited with record and musicians. No. So them know so them like record, but them also know so that me want to be an electronic engineer. So you see, I have to go to school and learn, you know, mathematics and things. So you see, no families them fall short, man. Fall short. And them children become hustlers. And now them give birth to children that's just like them. Not features, you know. Them have the same attitude and mannerism. And no vision for the futures. Yeah, vision, shorter vision. So I say, Mommy, love you so much. Burning spirit.
To this population, we want more convenience. To this population, we want more convenience.
lyrics. Tell him and bust your skunk. Trust me. Yes, Marcia and Aisha. So we are going to go back Harris Andy before we go conversation and we're gone. Come, Harris. And my mother used to love this tune because we just play it and rewind constantly. Yo, you can play rewind and blues spot, you know. Yeah, rewind star. Finish, come back. Finish it, come back. Yeah, man. Blues spot. We have one for sale right now, no. £1,500. I tell you, going once, going twice, 3 times. German made blue spot, £1,500. May I sell it. But if we had institution, really, if we had institution, this way it would have go. You understand? That means that we have our own museum, see? So we can prop up these things and our children and grandchildren can come and see what them grandparents, them, how them fit themselves in a England with independence. You understand? A beg, steal, or borrow nothing from nobody. And we retain our identity, which became a culture outside of Africa, right? With decency and morality. And that may stand for all that foolishness, a lie people that tell. You understand? And I project lies, you see? Because they're lawless. And I tell you, we are not that type of people. And the carnival, someone should tell the people them, it's our people. I don't know what the other people them. The reason why Britain bought carnival here, the reason why Britain, because we never do it, bought carnival here, see? And when you know that, then you say, yo, hold on, nothing no change. Come again. A gift from the Almighty. Yes, Mama. So, people, we are a proud people. And God wants us to find our excellence as human beings. The Almighty wants us to find that. The Almighty also wants us to accept responsibility as human beings, because we have the ability, we have the potential and the capability. We just have to accept these things, because He's given us the power of thought. Human beings, we are different from other creatures and creation. So we reason, and we also have that spiritual motivation to motivate ourselves and others. We are unique people, not black people, human beings. We are unique. We as a people know, I am saying that we need to develop an infrastructure that have institutions, medical institution, learning institutions, And then we develop our own supermarkets, trade services, and we think called when you fly out and so forth. Them thing there. You understand? Because we need to go into the continent of Africa. We don't need to keep going back and forth to the Caribbean. We need to be going into Africa. Our institutions, we would have learned languages from the continent. Now we would have filtered that down to our children. We need to verify our true identity as Africans, not as all these other things that people is talking about, you know, Hebrew, this, that. Yo, those things are important, but there's a place and a time for everything. And in my generation, my lifetime, all these things pop up and create mental problems and create division in our consciousness. Because we go against each other and we go against the practicality, as I would say, in relation to living and establishing something. Because here comes now the religious Norman people. I project Hebrewism or whatever they deem as Hebrewism. And the people them can't read a language. Them can read English, you know, but them can't read any other language that would have affiliated to this Hebrew something. Because you see, key Swahili, American Arabic, and Hebrew is mother languages. But you see, there's a prejudice and there's a carelessness and there's a division amongst people. And that division that them have, or some of us have, then I see it that is fully whitewashed. It's people who are give credence and validating Christianity and everything to do with the colonial past. Them they pun strong. I even hear some Rasta man them, well, I don't know if them are Rasta now, them look Rasta because them are dreadlocks. And, well, them say Selassie the first. But the man them does come and say, what's that Christian term? And I was puzzled. So everybody that chat some new way of something, it's colonial past, it's a theological training and what it can do for them pocket wealth. Not those brothers, but people. Because them big churches that we have, what are they producing? This old religion chatting thing. Because Al-Islam is a religion. But Al-Islam is not a sit-down, stagnant something, you know. Islam is a way of life. It's all about the living. It's all about the developing. Everybody will prop up them thing and say anything they want. But all of you who listen what I'm saying, you know I say them people are around competition. Them people that tell people about how them can heal. Them people that tell people that God said that them should tithe more. Them people that tell people them say that them know that John Tom over Dessa is saying this and that, and the Holy Spirit is with them and not with him, and all of this nonsense. So when it goes on like that, after ask yourself, wait a minute, did God send something down here for make competition? And then another set of people that say that God chose as a particular set of people, let him choose over all the other people them in the earth. And it bugged me to think that who said that God said that Ham, Shem, and Japheth is the protogene of the new earth after the flood. And who said that this behavior that that some peoples are saying, and it's allegedly written, that this behavior happened with Noah, and these children attitudes, vision, and how they reacted caused this thing. And who said that God said that so much people are going to take out to Africa, carried on ship, and dock some of the place, and one of the ship will be called Jesus. And listen here, them something that is very strange, and people with their rational minds and faculties don't ask a question like, wait a minute, are you telling me that God said this? Or is it some man said this? Or some humans or some countries said this? Yo, people who read, go back and read that book there. Go back and read that book there carefully. Read all those verses. Stop listening to pastors, man, and all these people. And read the thing carefully. And then ask yourself, wait a minute. Which God with who are you talking about? Who said this thing here? And try to decipher when God are talking. If there's a God talking in that book. So let me get back to the excellence of the human being. Because there's something that had nothing to do with God. This is man and his evil ways. This is man that's racist. This is man that want to control other people and them do what them do. And this is African people that needs in the diaspora that need to find themselves and them hatch on to the same people them and them relatives instead of trying to find out what we really name. I drop the name that has been given to us and seek to understand something about this continent called Africa, and then to press the British as to where them take so much of us from. So we know a locality, we know the continent, so we can merge ourselves within that and learn something and be proud of ourselves before we leave this planet. Because if we not do something properly, our genes are going to be in despair. Look at yesterday. The 2 or 3 days, this carnival something. And none of them know why this carnival was brought to Britain. And then on top of that, we have the covert, and everybody, the news people are telling us that the carnival wasn't about because of the and look at us. Forget all the different people that did not look like us. So you see, rational-minded people, progressive people, people who strive for excellence as human beings, when them look upon we, I say, look at them. And there are people in this country, along with us, we are with them. That is keeping them eye close and ears close to find out what the hell is going to take place in the next 2 months with all these rate increase and them a talk about some war and they're giving all kind of explanation for the reason why they're squeezing money out of people and so forth. And we are going like, and so much people naked looking. Wow, what a thing. Huh? And where's the dignity? So a lot of us as assimilated, and a lot of us don't care too damn about yesterday's family. Nobody have no respect for their mother and them father, them family, period. 'Cause anybody, any woman or man who have respect, moral respect, won't carry themselves in this manner in a public space. Tell you. So when people talk about blue spot and everything, where's the ones them that talk about our families' mannerisms and how them raise we as children in a foreign land, maintain that moral stance, that respect, that dignity? You think somebody could have stand up in front of my father and say about something your mother? You're joking, man. Not just my father, any man. But then something happened. And the something that happened, I keep trying to tell people now, that shubbeing thing happened. And then hustlers happen. Because out of the shubbeing, people learn, people who couldn't do a lot of things, live and develop shubbeing. And them learn to hustle. Inner England. So we have a population of people, that have that mindset and still teach that and teaches that mindset out there. And when them find themselves in a hot weather, they want to talk about something. And strangely enough, them get a lot of attention. Why? Because they're up on the street all the while. You understand? Them are frontliners. If they could have write, then we would have newspaper. Because they would be great journalists for us. Because they're on the front line all the while. Them know street life. And them know how to hustle their own mother. Hey, could you imagine? Hustle them own mother, Tell all kind of lie. We'll catch her money. We'll go up the road and create a dance or something. Because them ideas to grab that money there and do this thing like them are invested there thinking. And all that. And tell a big lie. So then when them bring forth children, they don't know the word, what responsibility mean. You see? So, a lot of things we need to do in relation to education and building institution, and it's pointless projecting social science, because a lot of people don't know what it means. When Chiaga drop it, a lot of people did not know what it means. So it's a new phenomenon for them. So them listen to the man and yell the man. So when the man put a few pointers out there, them say, yo, the thing I work. Whatever it called is working. So when the orders come that him supposed to step back, them never realize. Because if you did know, then you would have stick to it and push it forward. And no matter what him try to do, the people them would have see the benefit. But now him twist it. He was told to halt. And once him halt, the first class people them supposed to flourish, and garrisons were built. But anyway, that's just me, I say. So discipline people. We need social discipline. Yeah. Intellectual discipline. We need to motivate. We need some motivators, not truthful motivators. But we need infrastructure. We need institutions. You understand? Without institution, we can talk till the cow jump over moon or cow fly and everything. Because where's the education coming from? Where the information coming from? You understand? Yeah, wait for it to come from England. We there England, yes? But why is there talk now? You're going to say Indian this and Chinese this, huh? And Jew this, and Muslim this. When you listen to all of that talking and all those statements about these different people, you're supposed to stop and say, yo, what are we about? And we mean this British blacks or Caribbean blacks or African Caribbean or whatever. And that you're supposed to say. You're not supposed to just point fingers everywhere, because if you're that intelligent to do that, that means you know where the problem is, that we're just consumers and fools. But we're not actually fools, you know. When we mean fools is that we're contented to keep receiving. And then when pressure reach we, you know what I mean? Pressure make water run uphill, you know. But when pressure reach we start talk about what other people have got or are doing. See? So, since we are capable of analyzing things like that, we should internally analyze ourselves. That's all. Simple things. Analyze yourself. You understand? And you have to do these things quick, you know, because the gods are changing. Prince Charles come, and he's coming with a different mood. Huh? I wonder who I go to the church and everything. Is he gonna follow him sons them in remembrance of Princess Diana? Hey. And we have enough things in this month, the end of this month here that just finishing off, and then September, October, of great significance for us and the reign of this country. And people should look at the Commonwealth and see how them drop the bull and all that satanic something up there. And the statements that Charles has been giving. Gosh, man. Serious things. People. I tell you, man. So my mother, a great woman, love her bad. Who may I look for now? May I look for mommy's tune. And look for mommy's. Guidance.
Oh, you man, listen carefully. Ooh, yeah. Oh, you man, put down your weapon. Oh, you man.
And we get the news this morning, because we never go carnival. I mean, I look on TV for carnival, but we hear the news that one young person lost his life, get stabbed up. And some people them fall down and get injured. Yeah, I'm not laughing. I'm laughing at the one that get injured and all the little clips that send. What the hell were they doing up there? But anyway, them fall down, and then the ones on the lorry or whatever. You understand? But condone some feelings for the families and friends of that young man, because that's our life. You understand? That's our life. And what them going there for? Them going there for eat up, drink up, dance up, and look up. Yes. Eat up, drink up, jump up, rub up, and look up. What's the looking? At all the nakedness past them. You understand? Yes, that's what they went there for. So, where's all these big man them that does go on so much radio station and chat and chat? Did they grab a microphone down there, sir, and say 2 words to the people and say, yo, you see how we all can come here like this? Or when I turn up about the covert and look for solution? Or when I turn up in those numbers and look to build and develop our areas them and we can have community for real? Or when I turn up with all these numbers of people, forget the other colors, huh? And bring all of our financial efforts together, huh? To have ownership of lease and land and property and yo, you understand? For today and tomorrow's future for their children. You understand? Nah. Them go on there and get sexually aroused and do all kind of mysterious things and so forth and so forth. And not one of them know the reason why England brought Carnival into England. Then bring it from the Caribbean, Trinidad, inner England. What was the reason? Historically, you know, we had institutions, the youth, them would have known that. And them young people would have said, no, we don't want a carnival again, you know. I tell you, 'cause the person who killed our brother there, you know, that person has got away with it. The people that must have mashed up with family, them got away with it. You understand? And them can use something for cool us down. You think the people, the children fool? But guess what? When I'm in the institution, say true when I'm in the institution, them something that can't happen. You understand? Yes. But you see the people them that call themselves Jew? What you think them teach them children? Never, 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 never again. See? They make them know the root of something. Huh? And never. And they should not turn no cheek to nobody. And them should not accept any form of disrespect or disregard. So hence why you see anti-Semitic is there. Huh? Anyhow them feel uncomfortable, them deal with the devil himself. I tell you, whoever that is. But we laugh and grin. And that's why it's easy for us to just keep hiring the morgues and paying lease in the cemeteries. Guidance, we're gone for real. Listen to him.
Free up the people. Free up the world. We wanna be free from Babylon's captivity. We wanna be free.
Yeah, you see that we? That we is not in general terms, you know, because I am convinced now that there's no we and nothing, you know. I tell you, seriously. So I'm saying Alhamdulillah that I'm a Muslim, and Alhamdulillah that I accept Al-Islam, and Alhamdulillah that I have accepted that my life and death is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. See? And I feel good with that. Because you see the we? If there was a we, see? We would have all these things. If it was a we, There be a lot of gatherings. You understand? But this individualism is not we. And there's no community. It's just churches, no community. And sound systems. There's no community. That's why man them can come from America and come in London and juggle to make money. To take money that we gonna need to pay the rates. And turn some of us into hustlers to be able to make some money and bring people to hustle us, and we hustle ourselves to finance them, and then them fly out and go back where them come from. I tell you, man, the exchange is this. There's something wrong about that understanding. Because we are the ones here that's in need. The ones that come here now, they go back to sunlight, fresh fruits, fresh food and all kind of something. We have genetically modified this, that. We have a thing called pound. But you see, if you don't have business and you have no employment, them pound, you can just talk about them. But the people, they're hustling these pounds, and they bring other people that are bigger hustler than them for make pounds. When them people that make them pound, I mean, I blame them, them just fly out. What them come here do? They not come here and work. Them just come in and perform and make some money. I don't blame them. Some of them can leave, come 2-3 times, and them own a house, them build a house. And we who been here 20 years can't build a backside. Yo, logic, this is logic. See? And it's true. Huh? So then when them just come the other day from America and from yard, see? And then come do 2 or 3 shows. Okay, I tell you, think a joke. It's we, whoever is we, that are full. But me, and my sisters and brethren, them that said Al-Islam were outside of the we. Mom.
Free up the people. Free up the world.
That's why it's easy for them one another for have argument. This one go get gun. The government support me over him, and the government support him too, See? But I feel good because I have a gun. And I hustle money. And I collect taxes from garrisons and different places, So it don't mean none to me, A man get vexed, do a thing and don't do. Hey, I pull my gun upon him. See? So you got that scenario. Now you tell me, say, if this is rational, if this is people who using the morality and the natural faculties and the sensibility, really? And this thing still continues and continue, and they export it as well, And to show those notches that them good, them export the thing, them go outside with the thing, develop what they want to develop, and go back and build what they want to build and do what they want to do, and keep them soldiers. Yeah, when we call them people, they're soldiers, They're not at war, but they have conflict about who is the Dan of Dans and so forth. Yeah, when you study us in America, we have killed so much of us outside of what the police and FBI and all these other people have done, And we have done some despicable things. Because we help make some of them CM drugs there. And what we never make, we sell. To who? Ourselves. God help us if that same nastiness come here, you know, that evil come here. And uno, hey, yo, I don't walk street. It could all be here already. Not no funny. Bad state of affairs, man. Seriously, sad. And we raise our children them to be footballer. 3 lions and yeah, we're in a bad who's this we though? Gosh, man. I'm going for real. Gotta get off this topic. Give you a heart attack.
Free up the people. Free up the world.
And what is the nation of Islam in England doing? Besides these loose conversations, that does mean a lot. A lot of good things are said. Seriously. But you see them gatekeeper and fireman them need to stop it, man. We need some real talk and real action. Set examples. Set examples. I tell you. I don't know what. Gee whiz. I tell you, man. Yeah, and it's not that me dislike them, you know. But every tree have a reason, a purpose for being here. Yes, a tree. Now, if it's a fruit tree, show us your fruit. In due seasons. Okay?
Free up the people. Free up the world. We wanna be free from Babylon's captivity. We wanna be free. Yeah. From Babylon's captivity.
And the good God will tell you.
Look how long we've been downing, slaving for 400 years.
And the God will tell you.
Still we can't be free. Oh,
And you will win it.
Father, hear our cry.
Harry Schools and
Cause we all wanna survive.
like candy.
So hard to bear. Brothers and sisters, stop the fighting.
Tell them.
Think of equal rights. Cause now is the time. We must live right. Try to unite and live as one. Let's fight for the party.
Harry Schools and let your love light shine. Marcia.
Free up the world. No shadows behind me. Break on chains. We wanna be free from Babylon's captivity.
And the good God will tell you.
We wanna be free from Babylon's captivity.
As the wise Bible would say.
Oh Father, hear our cry. Cause we all
So we're gone, you know. Mighty Diamonds, we're gone. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. You say move, yeah. Find you a mafia.
See? Too much of them. And they're pretending, you know, pretensive people. They're wicked, terrible. Too much of them, man. Them are mafia. And that's what they want to be, you know, really and truly. They have all this big aspiration for that. And they go around and hustle people money and everything. And confuse people. You understand? Or you get young women want to be bad girls. Gee whiz. You understand? And now the journalists, you know, the tabloid, with the Times, the Independent, and the Guardian, man, them they're tweaking, they're twerking, Yo, the people them up to date with something. And the grandmothers them in England, the Caucasian British people, they want to know how disgusting are these people. I'm telling you. Oh, gosh, man. One lady asked, don't they have no shame? No shame. Could you imagine? I would come to England, you know, and then people couldn't talk like that. See? They couldn't talk like that. Newspaper eating people and all kind of different something. Now them have a universal dish that them claim to be theirs. You understand? And them talking about all this decency. The decency was only with the middle class people, not working class people. See it? So none of the people that my ass. What happened? Don't them people have no shame? Shame. Don't they have any shame? And these are people who so piss out them window and shit. Yeah? I know them same people that their children have grown up and now look on way and asking, sitting down among themselves and asking, don't they have any shame? Gosh, man. Serious thing.
Thank you, Lord, for this moment, oh yeah. Thank you, Lord, for this feeling that I possess. How could I know when I'm hurt? How could I know, dear Lord? I bow 10,000 times unto you, Lord, unto you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for this wonderful, wonderful gift that is life. Oh, how, yeah, how could I live on? Could I do your works, dear Lord, dear Lord? Oh, thank you, Lord. Yeah, thank you, Lord, Lord.
Thank you, Lord. You understand? For all the good things that you have given to us continually. Yeah, you can't choose. You can't decide not to give. Understand? Because without the oxygen we can't live. Without the water we can't be sustained. Without the light we can't see. Without the darkness we cannot mature. Yo, I tell you, that's God Almighty, you know, not no man. See? So if we go sleep and God keep our soul and allow our bodies to rest, and if we wake up, that's a privilege. But many people don't get up, you know. Them gone. See? So if we wake up, if we are privileged to wake up, are able to awake from our sleep, that means our soul is awarded back to us. And then we should not be arrogant, but we should be thankful. We should be thankful for that innings, because one thing is absolutely sure, is death. See? Some people that they want to insist on the death thing by killing someone. See? By taking life, killing someone. One thing is guaranteed, for sure, without failure, it's death. For all of us. But I don't want nobody to come murder me. No! One thing's for sure. And that's that's a prize that everybody receives, you know. But there's nowhere to carry the trophy and everything. Huh? So the trophy really is how we live our innings, what we do with our innings. See? So if you look upon God now, you think about God now, you see, God has given us everything, you know, to make us have splendid innings. But the pastor didn't work with it. We not work with it. We are run down things. It's when we're sick, we start realizing something about that innings. It's when we have pain and agony, we start realizing and cherishing ourselves and think like, yo, we need to get rid of this thing, you know. And you will go through hell and high water to get some relief from this pain. It's even a tragedy if it's a serious illness and the doctor, they must tell you about a length of time or that you have this what you call the thing? And so forth, and you just get scared now. You cry too. Huh? You could have had good money and house and everything. It not help. What them call it, terminal? Yeah, terminal illness. Oh gosh, man. Now you want to be God-fearing. No, we want to be God. There's a we now. We want to be God-fearing. Huh? Yeah. Want to be God-fearing. And you call out everything. You call out everything. Everything that you think you did hear, not you did know. You did hear. We call it out. Huh? And beg. Can you imagine that type of behavior that we have? Yo, you see? So if we had our own institutions, you know, can you imagine making ourselves understand these things on a day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year basis? Come on, man. We were beautiful people. Huh? Visibly. Because we are beautiful people. But, you see that, but is a conjunction. You understand? And we want good, you know. We want good. It's nobody that want bad. We want good. All I'm saying is how we go about having this good. But those people that, forsake God, you know. When them time they come, boy, I tell you. Them call out Buddha, Muhammad, Jesus, Christ, and everybody. I tell you, them call everything. And then some of them say, why me? Yeah, I'm telling you. And the morphine now work, you know, because the morphine just a temporary thing. And the steroids, them, all them painkiller thing is temporary. One thing that I'm afraid of, you know, I don't like is pain. Oh gosh, man. Pain. Oh, you understand? I can't deal with no pain thing. Can't deal with no pain thing, seriously. But, you know. So we have to wake up. We have to wake up. So I'm saying, Salam Alaikum. If God willing, we pop up on Thursday and we go through the same thing again. Guidance.